deserves the dub the most?
No question, it's the Raptors. And it's not just that they have to win, it's the way they have to win. You know, I've been on the show saying that I noticed that the Raptors, they pass the ball, they share it really well, they don't worry about ISO hero ball. Until the end of late and close games, it seems to me, just anecdotally, that watching them, they start to ISO DeRozan and Lowry a lot toward the end of games. And it's not good for them when the game is late and close. Because when they don't do that, usually it's not late and close. They're top 5 offense, top 5 defense. That's kind of like the championship formula, really, when you think about it. And so I looked into it. And guys, I got to tell you, that's the case. They ISO in late and close games about twice as much, almost twice as much as they normally do. And so what they can't do is feed into the Stephen A. Smith narrative of DeRozan's got to overcome LeBron. That's just a bad matchup for him. If they do that, they're playing into the Cavs' hands. And why is it so important for them to get away from that? Because the only question in terms of the Raptors getting by the Cavs is the psychological whammy that the Cavs have on the Raptors. The Raptors are better than the Cavs. The Raptors also, according to the analytics, Stephen A., the Raptors are something like they're 87% likely, I believe, to beat the Cavs in a 7-game series. They're 19% likely to sweep the Cavs. There's a 1 in 5 shot they sweep the Cavs because the Cavs are a bad offensive team. But we all get the same feeling. Oh, it's going to get tight late. LeBron's going to put the Cavs on his back, and the Raptors are going to think it comes down to a LeBron, DeMar DeRozan ISO fight, and that's not a fight the Raptors can win. So the Raptors have got to get over that hump. The last time these teams met, the Cavs came back on them and beat them just that way. The Raptors got to continue to move the ball, not only beat the Cavs, but beat them the way they beat teams in the first 3 quarters. Forget about the ISO story, DeRozan and LeBron. Forget about all that and get over the hump psychologically.
I think you're wrong. I disagree with you on this. I think the game is more important for the Cavs, but it has nothing to do with the Raptors. Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Indiana are within 1 game of one another battling for the 3rd seed within the Eastern Conference. I think if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers, you'd much rather go up against the Washington Wizards in the first round than the Cardiac Kids, that's what I'm calling them, in Philadelphia. When you've got Joel Embiid, who's been out, but he'll be back with the eye socket injury, the fractured or orbital bone. I mean, I think he'll be back, and he's expected to be back. When you have him and you've got Ben Simmons, who's a jump shot away of being officially the second coming of LeBron, and we know what he brings to the table. When you've got T.J. McCollum and some other, guys that really, really go after it, and they have absolutely, positively nothing to lose, I think that's a matchup that you want to do everything that you can to avoid in the first round if you're the Cleveland Cavaliers. And so when I look at it from that perspective, that's why it comes to me and it says to me, these wins are a priority. So Toronto wants to hold on to the number 1 seed, of course, but it's a number 1 or number 2 seed as it pertains to what their destiny is and where it lies. With the case of the Cleveland Cavaliers, you're battling for that 3rd seed with Philadelphia and Indiana. If you end up as a 4th seed or a 5th seed and you end up going up against the Philadelphia 76ers in that first round with the hostile confines of the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and those boys, it could be a bit tough for you. Not if you're LeBron, but for the rest of the crew. And I think that's something that you need to be mindful of if you're trying to progress in the postseason. Again, it has nothing to do with Toronto. It has everything to do with holding on to that 3 seed so you can avoid the 76ers and instead go up against somebody like the Washington Wizards when you got somebody like Tomas Satoransky literally being on the record talking about how the Wizards don't want it. They'd rather not face LeBron James in the first round of the postseason. Of course, you can feel that way, but to articulate that verbally and publicly, I mean, it's as weak as it gets, and that's exactly what he ended up doing. And I suspect that there's a bunch of Washington Wizards who may feel the same way.